Alright, hello and welcome everyone. Here we're about to kick off this week's adventure, but first I need to recap a little bit of what's kind of happened in the last little bit. So, our adventurers have made it to Boulder Gate, and they met with some very elusive, shadowy twins that were very sketchy at best. They found what happened to Captain Ron, who was stolen from their boat in the middle of the night. He was killed in front of them by the twins, or at least by their companions. And they had to strike a deal in order to be helped find a caravan with the cultists, as the cultists are heading north. And they have to wait for information to arrive about when to join up on how to get hired in as guards, and that's kind of where we're picking up today. So, all right, here we go. All right, so when we last left off, we'd made it to a tavern after our elusive uh, twins incident had taken place, and slightly mourning the passing of Captain Ron.
Slightly.
Uh, a couple of days have passed. You were told to, lay low, find a place, and they would find you. Whenever they knew something about the cultists, when they finally made it to Baldur's Gate, and when they'd come get you when it was your time to shine for getting set up with one of the merchant caravans going north that included the cultists. That was pretty much your last instructions. So, is there anything that you guys wanted to do over that couple of days that is just kind of passing by? I know that when we left off, we'd taken care of a little bit of that off stream. I think Rowan learned how to make healing potions. Finally, that's something she's been working on. Got that figured out. I know that some of the stuff that Fane had done on the side. I think after a couple of days, she will finally locate and catch up to the rest of the group on one of those days. But is there anything that anybody else wanted to take care of during your bit of downtime before we kind of jump into a few days down the road?
One thing I wanted to do, I guess basically the morning right after everything had happened, was go out, find a little bird of some kind to cast Animal Messenger on.
Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't be too difficult.
Like
especially
a pigeon or something.
Yeah, I mean, between pigeons and carrion birds, there's quite a bit in Baldur's Gate.
Basically, since we had, Karth had told Balin, the ship captain, or acting captain, I guess, to send a message to Onthar. So I was going to add to that with what we now know. Basically give the bird a description of the boat and Balin, and give him the message. Tell Onthar 2 mad dogs hunted the light, caught a skipper, spilled its secrets and its blood. Useful dogs but dangerous, must be put down.
Ooh, okay. All right, yeah. You find a pigeon and you speak with animals and convey your message, and then you. So, what was the actual spell that you're casting that sends the message itself?
Animal Messenger.
All right, yeah. It understands your instructions and flies away to carry them off.
And I had intended to go check on Karth, but he wasn't able to make it today, so.
Yeah. So I was going to resolve that as a couple of days go by. Kind of like where we pick up at on what happened to him.
Otherwise, that's it for me.
Anyone else want to take care of anything before we get started?
So TX was away from everybody, but he's mostly studying the merchants, trying to get watch people come in and out of the North Gate. He was down in that part of the city while everyone else was in the inn and doing their thing.
Right.
We solved mine. I did some bounty hunting before we left.
Okay. Yep. Yes. Yeah, that's right. You never found your quarry, but you did get enough info that they give you a small payment for it. That's right. All right. So, Karth spends a couple of days scribbling notes and having merriment in the inn and trying to just keep record of things. A couple of days in, someone comes into the inn in which you guys are staying, who very clearly knows who Karth is. Karth at the time doesn't, kind of make it public, and there's no formal introductions to those that are staying at the inn of who this guy is, and they go off to meet in a back room for a little while, and then he comes out and he says that there's something that he needs to take care of. He'll be traveling north ahead of you. He's going to go with his friend, and they will try to get on his guard somewhere down the line. There's something he has to take care of. I said, don't worry about him. He's got a plan. And so with that, this would have been about like a morning, 2 days after your meeting with the twins. And at that point, he's going to take off and leave. And it isn't much later in the same day that Fane actually finds and catches up to the rest of you, at least knowing your whereabouts. I'll leave it up to her whether or not she's going to come to the inn or go continue to do other things, though.
Is there another inn close by?
There's quite a few, yeah.
I'll probably take residence in another inn and kind of watch my group, but not necessarily join them yet.
Okay.
And work on a disguise in the meantime.
You know that you were expecting the cultists anytime within the next week. You really expected the first, after like 3 or 4 days. That was the anticipated arrival date if all the math kind of worked out. But it's a whole 6 days that go by after your meeting with the twins, and you've heard no word. So Karth has left a few days ago. Fane's kind of keeping watch from a couple things over. Are you making your presence known to them? Are they aware that you're there?
No.
Okay.
Well, I guess it depends on my disguise, but no.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not, you're not going into the inn. You're not going to them to tell them anyway that you're there or you're staying in a different inn or anything.
Right.
Okay.
Just working on my stealth skills and, making a good.
On the 6th night, after your meeting with the twins, I'm gonna need TX and Rowan and Morn to all roll perceptions. In a very late hour, while you're all sound asleep, TX and Morn, you hear a small creaking sound as the door to your inn room starts to slowly open. Rowan, you're just asleep.
Snores.
Alright, I'm gonna out loud say, I sense you, what do you want?
You hear the creaking stop immediately, and then everything goes silent for just a moment. Morn, how would you react?
I'm keeping my mouth shut and I just pull my bow staff, like reach aside my bed and grab my bow staff, and pretty much ready it and scrunch up to the top of the headboard as much as possible.
Okay. A few heartbeats pass, and you hear the creaking open to just a little more than a crack. And it goes silent after that. TX,
Damn.
Your dark vision is all the time, right?
Yep.
As you that's right. That's the way yours works. You see a small shadow slip into your room through the crack in the doorway. How would you react?
Say, state your business. My crossbow is trained on you. Is it time?
In just an instant, as just a heartbeat passes, the shadow near the door is immediately right beside your bed. God.
Alright, I'm gonna start. He's obviously wants to be stealthy, so I'm gonna start going stealthy and following him then.
So as you know, as you start, as it's right now next to you, thought even with your dark vision that it was just more of a shadow of something else. When it's next to you, it is a shadow. It is not an actual being, but it is a shadow that is actually only dark and misty in form beside the bed, and that in all of the sounds that it makes are very elongated S's, if you will, of the words that it says, and the movements are like little flowing bits of air around it. More than the same thing kind of happens to you as you're kind of you're listening in as you still can't see anything going on. You're laying in bed, your staff is at the ready, and then you're hearing little bits of creaking happening at the door, and then instantly there's something right next to your head as your head's on the pillow up at the top near the headboard, and you hear shh. Calm.
I'm gonna swat at it. Freaked me out. Dark. I can't see shit.
Okay. I don't have anything for you to roll an attack roll on, but if that is some, but go ahead and just roll your attack roll. I've got some stats.
Oops, I clicked twice. Oops.
So as you take a swipe at it, at the source of the sound, your bow staff makes no contact with anything in what is obviously something that was located. You feel like you were spot on as you're swinging the staff, but it makes contact with nothing as it thuds against the wall. right about this time, Rowan, as you're dreaming along, having pleasant dreams, perhaps finding one day a little birdie that was real nice to you across the plains, you're suddenly just come awake, almost like you're choking, but it's like that. It's very apneic kind of being awakened in the middle of slumber, as though you'd stopped breathing for a few seconds as your heart beats a couple of beats. Then you kind of startle and your eyes come awake. They come open as you start looking around and you start trying to choke for breath, and then all of a sudden you're breathing normally, and you hear shh. God.
They're here. It's time.
You hear the door to all three of your rooms close with a small thud, all simultaneously.
Do I see the shadow thing?
You could not. No,
No. Okay.
not in the pitch black. All you did was hear.
I'm gonna leave a couple pieces of silver for the, I guess the maiden who comes in to clean after me, and I'll start leaving, gathering my things and leave.
Is there? I'm assuming there's a candle or a lantern or something in the room I could light.
Yes.
I do that.
Yeah.
And try to see what made the sound.
As you look around, there's no evidence that there was anything there, other than having just heard the door close. You heard the door close, but there's as you look around, look under the bed, look just in case. There's nothing. There's nothing in the room.
Okay, I'll gather my stuff and then turn the lantern back out and go see if I can find the other guys in the inn. I guess it's just me and Morn there now, right?
Yeah, you're the only two in that inn at the moment.
Okay, I'll go try to find him.
Morn, what are you? Are you? How are you
I'm
reacting
gonna follow
to
Rowan's. Well, I mean, I swung at something I thought was there, and there was nothing there, so I was a little taken aback. But watching Rowan get up and light the torch, I see nothing there. And I see that I probably noticed that TX is not there.
Yeah, you knew that TX hasn't been here. He's
Yeah.
he has been, like, when y'all split up, he did not come to this inn. So you know that he went off somewhere else along the way.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just following, seeing what Rowan's doing.
Yeah, so you both come into the hallway. Relatively similar timing as you kind of gather everything up real quickly. You knew that you had to leave at a moment's notice, so it's not like you just unpacked and filled drawers full of everything. You knew this was a very temporary kind of stay, and you each open the door within seconds of one another. Peek into the hallway, kind of catch each other's eyes as you see each other both peeking around in the hallway in the still of the night.
You got a summons too?
Yes. It's fucking weird. I tried hitting it.
I felt like I couldn't breathe when I woke up. I think we should find the others.
TX snuck out. I think he followed it.
You wouldn't know because he's completely a different place.
Yeah, TX was staying somewhere else, but if he got the same summons, he might be heading to the brother's place as well. We might be able to just meet them there. If we both got one, they might have come to all of us.
Okay. Well, after you.
Okay.
As you kind of step into the hallway, you hear a slight knocking sound on the stairs leading down below. Knock, knock, knock.
After you, Rowan.
Like, is it down around the side of the stairs?
Yeah, it just sounds like it's knocking on, like someone's actually, like with knuckles, knocking on the stairs like 3 times, 3 rappings right in a row.
I'm gonna try and creep up and peek and see if I can see what it is.
Where they try to keep, at least a couple of small lanterns lit at all hours. Being this late, there is no. This is after the late night crowd has even gone to bed, and so there's no staff downstairs currently. As you look down the staircase itself, you see nothing.
I go down the stairs and see if I can see anything else around.
You just feel a gentle breeze inside of the room flowing by you. Just ruffles your hair just a little bit. And then on that breeze, it's like a small whisper.
I think it's leading us somewhere. Alright, I follow the wind?
As you step down the stairs and walk into the common room, the door to the inn creeps open, all ever so slightly, just creaking. And then you hear as it's creaking open, and then it just stops, and then closes really quickly and thuds. Thump. TX, you're experiencing a very similar set of circumstances as you're coming out of your room and down the stairs. This same kind of experience is emulated for you in your inn as well.
I'd be probably a little bit more direct in following the voices and less cautious. More, okay, time to do this. Getting into putting on my game face.
Okay.
Yeah, I just look at Warren briefly and then reach out and open the door.
Huh?
Head outside.
As you step out into the near empty street, kind of looking around, Fane, I'm going to need you to roll perception. As you're keeping an eye out.
Apparently, I'm not very good at keeping an eye out.
You've been keeping an eye out mostly on seeing when your companions come and go. You know where they are. But at this juncture, you just happen to miss as they come out in the middle of the night, and walk down the road. They manage to go by before you're looking out the window, not expecting them to be coming or going at this point in time. So you're not doing it. You're not just staring out the window, looking at at them. And so in between peaks, they manage to slip by without you noticing. As you guys step into the street and start walking along the way, the one final whisper on the wind, "You know where to go. Go."
Alright, I pretty much already had a hunch as to where I was going, so I'm going to go to Ilithale, or Lilith Ilithale, sticks.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed to. I'm gonna keep an eye out for any sign of our other companions, though, on the way there.
Yep. So you and Morn trek your way. DX, you being near the actual the Black Gate itself in the north, you're actually much closer than they are, and so you're taking a pretty direct route. And so you track yourself to their place in about 10-15 minutes time. Once you've reached the streets, find yourself outside the building. A mist has settled on the entire outer rim of the city, and it's a very dense fog. And it's just kind of creating a little haze around the building as you stand next to a street light, looking at the building, and it just completely, all the windows are dark. There seems to be no light emanating from the building. It'll take Rowan and Morn at least another 10 minutes to make it to you. Not that you would know that, but for their sake, for their knowledge. What would you do? You arrive to find none of your companions there, and everything completely dark.
I'm gonna walk on past as if that wasn't my target, and kind of, I'd say, visualize I wouldn't say pattern, but I'm gonna kind of walk by there again, and go around other buildings, walk by there again, go by other buildings. Kind of like a
Cloverleaf?
Yeah, I was gonna say Clover.
As you continue to walk by several different times, as you walk around a couple of blocks, and then walk by there, and then walk down a couple of different blocks and back. As you do that, a couple of times pass, and there is no one out on the streets, not even, the occasional drunken, stupid person, or anything. This is so late. This is 4, 5 in the morning. It's just quite before the earliest wake up, and just after the latest have gone to bed. And you find that the streets are just empty, where your previous experiences are. It's always been this bustling metropolis of stuff going on at all times. After you make about your third loop around, as you're coming along from a side street, you just watch as Morn and Rowan pass as they just walk by on the streets ahead.
I'm gonna speed up my walk and catch up to them.
Alright, so as you catch up to them, are you trying to remain stealthy? Or are you just trying to get up to them and make notice that you're there?
Yeah, make contact with them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so as Rowan and Morn, as you're making your way down into that Section 7 area, where where you'd met the twins previously, you see TX come in from a side street behind you, as he's speeding up to catch up to you along the way.
Oh, Dave, there you are.
I'm gonna be like, "What, Dave?"
I'm gonna be like, who's Dave?
Not Dave?
Not Dave. TX is fine right now.
Martin forgot to call him Dave. Dave who? What? Who is this Dave?
Pipe down. Not important.
So you make your way back to the edge of the block that contains that 2-story manor with the accompanying gated and fenced in kind of yard with real tall privacy fences. Now that you make your way back there, what would you like to do? You've heard no follow up after you got out on the street and began walking initially. You know where to go. Go. That was the last thing that you heard.
I'm just gonna, now that we are all here, I'm just gonna go and open up the door to the twins' house.
You do know specific. Okay, so you do know a couple of things. First, Karth's not there with them. You notice that right away. But you're not aware of what happened to Karth.
Yep.
Okay, and so you're just gonna walk up, just open the door?
Yeah, return the favor in kind.
Have you seen Fane?
I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for her.
Oh, when she doesn't want to be found, she won't be found, but I haven't seen her all week.
So you've had a pleasant week then.
I don't seem to have the same kind of animosity that you and she seem to share.
Not animosity, it's competition.
I guess that's a no.
No, I haven't seen her. And then I'm gonna go open up the door.
Okay.
Alright, so as you walk up, you still see that symbol that you recognize on the door. And you just open the door and step in. And the moment you open the door and it begins to sweep open, lights throughout the entirety of the place just come on as though by magic. All the rooms and hallways all seem to light up with sconces immediately as the door opens. As if you remember, when you open the door, there's a long hallway with several doors on each side, all the way down the hallway, which opens into the huge room that spans almost the entirety of the back of that light. Yes, and as the lights come on, I mean, it's very dark outside. It's been very very misty, very hard to see anything, and the sudden burst of light, you just have to kind of, your eyes are squinting as now this light, as your eyes try to adjust to take a moment, you can just barely see through your blurry vision down at the end of the hallway, the desk that you recognize, and the 2 twins sitting behind the desk. Standing very statuesque next to each other, with their hands folded and their chins resting on their clasped hands. They sit there with a very wry smile, their heads cocked just a little bit, peering down the hallway at you.
I expect this was you, and I should hope this will be the last time I need to talk to you. Is it time?
They just take a moment, and as they do, they each turn their heads slightly at the same time, cutting their eyes at one another, and look back at you. They lift their head up off their chin as they, unclasp their hands, and they each, with their forefinger out, motion you forward.
Alright, but
I'll walk in.
Yeah, I'm gonna motion the other 2 people in with me. And come on forward.
This may be the last you see us, but it won't be the last we see you. Come.
I'm gonna walk basically right up to the desk where they're standing?
Yep. And you see their palms, they kind of turn their palms upward, with their shoulders kind of shrugged a little. And they're kind of held up in front of you as they had their the fist closed, and they were just using their forefinger to motion forward. Now they're kind of opened, and their palms are upward, and their fingers are stretched up, with their fingers spread out as they sit there looking. As their eyes become very intent, as they look at you, as their eyebrows kind of raise, and their shoulders kind of pick up just a little, as they're watching you as you approach.
What do we need to do?
They cut their eyes once again to one another as they look at you. We've found the black.
He's here?
He's here. But he's not here for long.
He's traveling with them then.
They prepare to split. The pack is heading north. I'm afraid too late for you to catch the black. But those he leaves behind, with things they have. They seek wagons and a caravan. They leave now. Get hired you must. Interviews we have.
Okay.
Where do we go?
There's a main staging area. We've already sent the wagons. The main staging area, back off the main road, 3 blocks north. Several merchants. They're looking for help and protection. There's not nearly as many guards. They're seeking services as there should be.
I can assume that's your doing.
See a wry smile come up across both their faces simultaneously. Remember everything they say. They always say. Both of them are saying in unison, in direct harmony to one another. And that's our business. Just know that our business is in your favor today. But someday, it may not.
Alright, I've heard all I need to. Let's go to this interview.
Is that all we need to know?
Is that what you're asking them?
Yeah. Is there anybody in particular we should be talking to, or is that all you have for us? Everything you have for us?
TX is going to be already at the door by the time she finishes that sentence.
Okay. They kind of look to each other and say, and then they turn back to you and look and say, yes. That's all there is for you to know. It's up to you whether you get hired, although we've made it all but impossible not to. Go.
Then the next time I see Onthar, I'll let him know that you filled your end of the bargain. And then I'll turn around and walk out.
Our debts are forgiven.
I wave jovially as we go. I'm like, bye, and walk out. I like these guys.
As they're sitting there, as you turn to walk away, just something from behind you, catches your eyes. You turn back around. Each of the two brothers begin to evaporate into a black smoke, which dissipates and then disappears from sight.
I shudder a little bit as I'm weirded out and just walk out.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that shit?
Yep. Yep, I did.
Don't look back.
As you close the door behind you, you can see that the lights in the building shut off immediately as soon as the door closes.
What, the door doesn't close itself?
No, this time it didn't.
Lazy.
Alright, so a good nearly hour has transpired from all the walking and getting all down to this part and that kind of thing. At this point, dawn is just now starting to peak. You can't actually see the horizon, but you can just start to see the streaks of lights into the sky, where the light is starting to come up over a little of that pre-dawn light. At this point, Fane, go ahead and roll another perception check. Let's go ahead and make this one rather. Yeah, that's actually fine. So you've been kind of keeping an eye, especially throughout the night, the goings on, trying to make sure everyone stays safe, everything is working to the plan, and you kind of notice from across the way that the lights in their rooms have been on, and this is much earlier than you anticipated. This is much earlier than most of them usually get up.
So I go downstairs, maybe go across into the bar and see if anybody's up in the bar and they're in.
A lonely barmaid has kind of come down from her room to kind of start prepping for breakfast and making sure everything's cleaned up from the night before.
I ask her if she's seen Rowan or Morn and describe them to her.
She hadn't seen anyone this morning, but she just woke up, and something in the night woke her up. There was some doors banging and then some knocking going on, and she's a real light sleeper, and so she just got up a little bit earlier. Went around. A couple of the guests have already left for the morning, but she doesn't know who was staying in what room.
I ask her if I can go up and look in the rooms, see if they're my friend.
She kind of turns her head a little bit. It's like, it's awfully early to be barging in on people. Usually we don't let, people in to bother them unless we've got something.
I slide her 5 gold so I can go in.
Like, so she's like sitting there kind of debating back and forth and hemming and hawing, then you're like, then you kind of like, does 5 gold satisfy your qualms? And just her eyes just kind of get real bright as she just takes the gold and says, I didn't see nothing. And walks off back into the kitchen, and you hear some sounds from the kitchen as things are being rattled around in there.
Okay, I rush up the stairs and see if because I assume that I knew which rooms they were in.
You did.
To check.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. And I open the doors and look and see.
Yeah, as you look into Morn's room, it's still a bit disheveled. That all the covers and stuff have been tossed back. But he is definitely not in the room, and all this stuff is gone. And you go into Rowan's, and you see very similar. All their stuff is gone, and the covers thrown back. So they left in a pretty reasonable rush.
All right. Well, since I know that they left, and I'm going to assume that they saw who we were coming to seek, and they left in such a hurry, that I'm going to go to where they, the gates where they load up and leave out, and see if I can watch for them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you know, you do know the overall plan. So you know that ultimately they're going to be leaving north. So if you're going to miss anything, you know that that'd be the direction they'd have to go, where they'd have to leave from. So that makes perfect sense as you head that way. You pass through the gate as you move out into the outer circle of the city. Traffic is starting to pick up at this time as people are moving their way down towards different areas of business, and then several merchants and things are. You can see couriers are bringing goods north to some of the staging areas. Something that you've well aware of, having spent a good bit of time here. That's pretty much how they do. They have the docks. They have unloading and warehouses, and they stage all the goods, and then they transport them to different staging areas depending on which gate they're leaving from. And then that's where they get all the wagons and stuff from the local couriers, the merchants, where they buy the different wagons and hire on the different guards, that kind of thing.
Is there a place where I can go up a little bit higher and watch as people come and go? Out of the way where people don't necessarily notice me, but I can see everyone.
Yeah, it's possible to get to the rooftops. I mean, they're not really flat roofs, but they're not like super steep, like modern or any weird, crazy architectural roofs, anything like that. But they all have a slight slope to them. A lot of them are tiled in actual tile. Yeah, and there's several vantage points near the staging areas where you can kind of get up there and keep an eye out as people come and go.
All right. Well, that's what I'm going to spend my day doing then.
Okay, so go ahead and roll an investigation, as we can see, as you're starting to survey the area, get an idea of what all's going on. Okay, right about the time that you manage to make it to the top, that's when the others are coming in, but you don't notice them right away, as there's a lot of people crowding in, and you're spending a good bit of time scanning through the people in the staging areas and all the different wagons that are getting loaded up, and all the people that are bustling in the area start to become a pretty strong center of things. But right away, you don't notice any of your companions. But right about that time is the time that all the rest of you do actually make it to the staging areas. You start seeing wagons being loaded up, horses being hitched, and many people coming and going.
Is there anybody who looks like they're interviewing guards, or anybody who looks like mercenaries that they're heading a particular direction?
One person stands out above all the others, literally above all the others. There's a large human male who's more than 7.5 feet tall, the largest human you've ever seen, hands down, and that's across the board. Even those that have seen many people and traveled many places, this is your Andre the Giant of a human that you've just never seen anything the likes of, who's standing large over near one of the sides of the staging areas, as he's just standing there wielding. Should I double check what is he wielding? Yeah, a large double-bladed battle axe and leather armor, as he's standing there talking to several people who all seem to be. They look to be like they're kind of like bidding on him specifically. It's like they're arguing about price. You can see that very clearly as they're talking to this extremely large gentleman.
I'm going to be kind of intimidated by that huge dude whose calf is the size of me.
Yes.
So this is sort of a case where player knowledge and character knowledge don't really match up. I figured Rowan would have escorted probably smaller caravans going to and from Vandalin as part of the Adventurers Guild, but I don't really know what's entailed with that.
It kind of depends. As far as Rowan is concerned, usually that's done by contract. Usually it's done,
Yeah.
especially in the smaller cities, people just hire on and people come in and then they're like, you want to do the job? I'm like, yeah, here it is. What's your credentials? And here's the money. And it's just all kind of done through actual like contract work, or someone tells you to go do it, or something of that nature. It's not actually been a, you've never had to interview to be with a caravan before.
Right, okay. Okay, so I turn to TX and Warren and say, we should go up and talk to that guy. I think that's who's hiring the guards. But we still don't know where Fane is. Do you want me to go and try and look for her?
Okay, so DX is going to smile at Rowan and then climb up onto the tallest, I don't know, wagon or tent or something fairly high up that he sees in his immediate vicinity.
Oh yeah, there's plenty
Even
of
building.
wagons around and people loading and unloading wagons. Most of them are covered, big covered wagons. Those that aren't, there are a few that are not actually just covered wagons, but that have tarps, lashing them on, ropes tying on crates, that kind of thing. All about. And as they're being loaded, there's still plenty of space all over the place. Yeah, you can find pretty easily.
All right, then he's gonna climb up on one of those things and clap his hands as loud as he can, yell Fane, and jump back down really fast.
I face palm.
Do I have to roll a perception to know if I saw that?
Oh no, yeah, you're actively investigating, and up until that point, you're still surveying the crowd. You are enamored by this huge dude that came out and has been talking vigorously with these several people out in front of him. There's all these other people loading carts, and then all of a sudden you see TX jump on the cart and yell "Fane!" and then clap and jump down, and you're like, "What?"
Alright, I jump off the roof and try and make my way through the crowd and sneak up behind them.
Okay, go ahead and roll still. Alright, yeah, so he's was not actively aware of you being there. He did it off of a whim, and you actually happen to be there. So yeah, you sneak up as you sneak your way through the crowd. You're very confident that no one is aware of you in particular. Those that notice you there are just paying you no mind. It's just a regular passerby.
Alright, I'm just standing behind whoever's in the back, Rowan or Morn or TX, whoever's hanging around. I'm just standing behind them now.
Okay, just standing there?
Yeah,
Okay.
No big deal.
Alright, so what...
TX, do you remember our talk about, subtlety?
No. I remember you sending
Right.
mixed messages, and then it got all weird,
no,
and
no.
I forgot about everything.
There were no mixed messages. No. Yeah, you know what? Never mind.
Already forgotten.
So you notice as soon as you jump up there and you clap your hands and yell, like, everyone's gonna kind of turn and look up at you. Even the people up at the front that this big guy are talking to, and everyone just kind of turns and looks at you like, "What the hell?" And then they just turn back and continue on their conversation, paying no mind, like as you jump back down. You have your little conversation. So now what? At this point, none of you are aware that Fane is right behind you. What are you going to do?
I'm going to just say, "Don't worry, she'll be here. She always here." And at the thought of that, I'm going to, check my bag and kind of clasp it a little bit closer.
Okay. Yep. There's no mystery slits in the bag this time.
All right, I guess we should go secure our place, and then we can look for her after. Maybe we'll have time. I hope.
Oh yeah, the interview. I'm gonna pull out my one of my resumes that I've made.
You just carry those?
I need to be many things at many times. I'm quite honorable, according to some people. And I'm going to display a very toothy smile.
As you're standing there, as you're kind of discussing, you're preparing what you're getting ready as you're going to move forward. You see now that a couple of human females bearing shields, one has a shield and a spear, one has a shield and a sword, join the very large man as there's more continued discussion going on with the people in front of him.
Let's go before they get in ahead of us. We'll try and undercut them. I'd start walking toward the big guy.
You notice that the big guy is not saying much. He's just kind of standing there with his arms crossed, his axe leaning over one shoulder, looking at all the people out in front who are just kind of bickering and arguing over price and money. And I saw him first, and but I'm paying the better money. And then all of there's a lot of little argument going on amongst. Let's see. Let's take stock. We've got the people that are arguing. Amongst them, you see. Let's see. There's one human male. Let's see what's the other one. Let's see, there's a dwarf, a male dwarf, a male human, a moon elf, a female moon elf, and then a male half elf. Are all standing there arguing over different bits of money.
I'm going to start stacking boxes fairly near the big dude. And I'm going to stand on top of him and just start posing and flexing and taking a fighting stance. And going, whatever. I notice no one's looking at me.
You see, you just stack a box there, no one's paying attention. You stack another box on top of that, no one's paying attention. And then you kind of jump up on the box, and you're like, ha ha! And then as you're clearing your throat, and then as you're standing on the box next to the other dude, the big dude is just looking down at you still. As your two boxes up, you're still, your head's still well below his shoulder blades. As he's looking down at you, You just see him chuckle and just shake his head. You seem like a very interesting fellow. Which would you choose amongst these four? And why?
Okay, so say those ones again. There's the dwarf, the moon elf, the male human, and what was the fourth one?
Yeah, so we got male human, male gold dwarf, half elf male, and a female moon elf. Specifically a gold dwarf, by the way. Finally, at this large dude speaking, all four of these people just like guffaw a little as their mouths kind of hang down, looking up at this big dude with this big rumbling voice who talks very slow, but it's so commanding and deliberate that they can't help but just kind of be rifled by it just a little bit. And they all kind of turn to look to you, and they're like, I'm the best, I pay better. It's like, but I was here first. And then you hear all the, these different things going on. And then the half-elf says, but I'm friendly and I have ale. That's important for a venture as much as this, or as long as this.
Okay. I'd point at the dude with the ale and say, "You can go away now." And then I'd say, "Explain to the big dude, someone of our stature in this business would come prepared with our own ale. And if he thinks he can buy me off with a little bit of ale, and whatever would be left for you would definitely not be enough, he's not going to be worth your time."
You just see him nod very slowly. Good decision. Who would you choose, then?
Human male, dwarf, gold dwarf, and
The moon elf, the female moon elf.
female moon elf, human male, and gold dwarf. Okay.
I mean, you're welcome to ask them anything, or...
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I did not catch that.
Well, he didn't tell you you could ask them anything, but you're still welcome to do so. You're welcome to do
Okay.
whatever you want to make your... You can do whatever you want. It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, really, sir? Alright, I'm going to point at the human and say, what makes you think that he would want to work for you?
Well, I'm the biggest and the best, the wealthiest and the most important. Working for me comes with prestige and power and wealth and promise of work to come.
Have you seen the size of this guy? He does not need promises of work to come. There are people fawning for his work. You can go.
But he wants to be compensated for that work. I'm the one who can do that. At least the best. Bar no expense.
I'm going to ignore him and move on to the moon elf.
They're trying to get the big guy to work for them.
At first, it wasn't very clear, but now that he started asking questions, that seems to be actually the yes. You thought it was the other way around, but in
Yeah.
fact, it's actually them fawning over him to buy him as a guard.
Oh. Okay.
I'm going to. Oh, okay. I'm going to motion Rowan into that dude's direction, though.
Throw the bear at him.
I will maneuver myself over that way.
Okay. And I'm gonna point at the moon elf and say, "What makes you deserve this giant of a man's services?"
Luxury and exotic. That's what my enterprise is about. There's no denying how exotic this gentleman is, befitting of one who has exotic wares, such as myself. Exotic
Ooh.
wares that are precious and difficult to acquire.
I'm gonna nudge the giant. I think we have a winner. Just give me a second, and I'm gonna point at the gold dwarf and say, "All right, what do you have to compete with that?"
From the low to the aristocrats. It don't matter. He just kind of tucks his thumbs in his belt as he puffs his chest out. It's all about ambition. It's all about making something for yourself. It's not about what you look like, but who you are. You gotta show who you are. Show everyone that it's not about what's on the outside, but what's on the inside.
TX is going to yawn.
You can see him just kind of furl his eyebrows a little bit.
I think the moon elf wins. And I'm gonna flash her a very toothy smile again. She sounds the most interesting.
Big guy looks down at you and then looks over at her. You heard the little man. You got me, you got him. Is that good to you? As he's talking to you as he looks down.
Okay. I'm going to say to the big dude, "Heads up," and I'm gonna try and jump onto his shoulder.
He's gonna kind of stand there unmoving, and doesn't even flinch as you try to...
Oh, let's do that again.
As you try to luck your way into something better. Man, luck's the best thing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could have been funny though.
Oh man! As you kind of feign this wobbling on the things, and then you make it look very elegant as you're kind of wobbling, and then before the boxes fall, you do a backflip and land on his shoulder. Ta-da! As he just kind of sits there, you land with a thud, and you could that he is rock solid. You hit the top of that shoulder, and nothing gave. His shoulders are clenched, and he didn't budge a bit.
I'm gonna kind of feel the shoulder and look at the moon elf. Good choice.
You won't be sorry, I promise. Come this way. Exotic woods and exotic items. Come. I'll show you to our wagon. As she leads you off north along the train towards the front. Everyone else is just kind of like, The two human females that kind of walked up to the area that had each wielding a shield, and one had the spear and one had the sword. They kind of go, okay, well, now that the theatrics are over, how about we get down to business and let's get some real stuff going on? Who needs help? We're ready. All the merchants kind of in turn look around. And I kind of give them a look up and down. They have very nice equipment, actually. It's all well polished and well maintained. Everything seems to be finely tuned and sharpened, but it also seems to be worn as though it's seen some use. Even though that use has not been too damaging to any of the pieces. It's not like it's been, cut and ripped and shot by any means. It just seems it's been well used to great effect over time.
You said they each had one had a sword and one had a spear?
Yeah. So the other merchants are looking around. And they're like, so where's all the people today? There's tons of people yesterday.
There's one right here.
Kind of look at you and your much more noble appearance than before, since you're still done up in your disguise. They look at you, then they look at the trained female warriors. I look back at you. They're like, and what are you supposed to do?
I'm looking for work on my way back north. I was in Cloakwood on circle business, and I'm looking to go home and get some work on the way.
The human male is going to be like, I don't think the kind of work that you're looking for is what we're hiring for. And he kind of turns and looks back at both of the ladies and says, yeah, I'll hire both of you.
I cast Flame Blade.
Okay.
And I say, it is my business to protect nature from people and also protect people from nature. I think you will find my services satisfactory.
You see that human's just sitting there with his eyes are huge right now as they're just staring at you.
And I dispel it.
And you see that gold dwarf rush over real quickly and it said, back down, Oodle Yelton. You senseless beast. You've picked your tune, now get out of the way. This fine lass here, me and her got business. She's got the goods, and she's got the goods.
Oh, damn, TX. He's hitting on your girl.
I'm long gone. Dude takes 3 steps away and like a mile away now.
I'll smile down at the dwarf and say, pleased to make your acquaintance. Might I ask your name?
Name's Lie. Lie Anguston.
You're like a big chick getting hit on by a Texan.
I think we'll get along, Lai. And let's talk money.
Well, dearie, and he kind of hooks his arm out. Won't we go do
Oh.
just that?
I'll take his arm, leaning down, I guess.
Yeah. He's got his arm out like instead of just to the side, but it's definitely like he's got it reached way up over his shoulder. Come on. So you
I'll
do
go
the
with him.
protecting, eh?
Yes, sir.
That's good people there. Right there on the inside. That's what I'm talking about. Right there on the inside.
I'll kind of glance at Morn as I walk with him, I guess.
Okay, and so you're gonna walk away. So y'all each two are walking your respective directions. We'll talk about, y'all will have monetary bargaining opportunities in a moment.
Mhm.
And the other two are standing around. Right about this time, another dwarf kind of comes busting through with a hand axe and a shield and is, "All right now, who the hell wants me? Because I'm the best."
The things on your desk. That's funny.
He just kind of look around. He's kind of glaring at everybody, swapping swarthing back and forth with his head. "All right now, come on. 10 gold a 10-day, food, living, expenses. That's my price. Who wants me? I'm the best." Everyone is just like, not exactly sure how to react to someone who's so brash and direct. And by the way, this is a female dwarf, not a male. I don't know if I made that clear. That ran up in there.
Fane is very confused at this moment.
Moore's watching the circus. This shit's going crazy.
The ale merchant, Bade, is going to come up immediately. "Ah, dwarf! You like ale, I like good service. I think the money can be arranged. What say you?" And the female dwarf's going to say, "Taget's the name. I'm the best. Let's do it." That's all you're going to need, right? Just me. Bade's going to think, well, given the popularity of ale on such a venture out in the middle of nowhere, it's a common commodity, yet on the road, very precious. Would look for another. Can you handle the job yourself? And you just see her kind of put her hand on her hip and kind of look up at him, just kind of squinting one eye. "What do you mean, can I do it myself? I told you I was the best." Anyone else interjecting or doing anything at this time? We're just continuing to watch the circus unfold.
Oh, Morn's having a good time because he knows if he wants a job, he can get a job. But he's just like fucking. These people are fucking crazy.
This
And
is
then-
where you get a job, Morn.
Huh?
This is where you get a job, Morn.
I know, but Morn's watching all these crazy people. All the serious hire employers are waiting for all the jokers to get out of the way. This is a freak show before the main event.
Brad, he's calling your characters freaks.
Yeah, a little bit. So,
He's a freak.
Bade's gonna kind of look around and shrug and say, "Very well. I guess it's kind of light today, so come on." The human male who's already hired the two female warriors is just kind of looking around. Is there anybody, I guess, else? That's pretty light. Trek North's pretty dangerous. Probably looking to pick up at least one more. Ain't got him. Turns to walk away.
I'm gonna go towards TX and be like, where are we going?
TX and Rowan both left.
Oh shit. I'm so lost in this whole ordeal.
I think I'm going to take off after Rowan and who she left with.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rowan too.
Okay.
Because
So-
I'm not exactly sure why we're here, so I tend to follow Rowan over
Morn's-
TX.
Yeah. TX might get us all killed.
Yeah. At this point, does Morton realize that I'm standing next to him or behind him?
Still not yet,
Yeah.
no.
No.
Okay.
Yep. So, the four merchants who were out front are all now walking away. The Moon Elf hired the human giant and TX, and the human male, who you got his name was Ul Yelton, hired the two female warriors. The ale merchant Bade hired the female dwarf, and the gold dwarf walked away with Rowan arm in arm.
Oh, I don't know if I want to follow that. Give us privacy.
So she,
I'm gonna follow TX.
and she kind of span around and look on. There seems to be no other merchants here hiring for the wagons. There's several wagons that seem to already have their own guards acting in place, particularly in the back, as they're all loading up as a huge group of them. They're kind of keeping to themselves and away from the other.
All right, I want to shout out after Mr. Angston.
The dwarf?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And ask him if, Mr. Angston, do you have need for another guard?
Like look under my arm and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you
Surprise!
hear Fane's voice coming from right behind you as you turn around. And you're like, holy crap, she's right there! Just absolutely startled.
Holy Jesus.
You see the gold dwarf kind of turn his head a little bit, and then turn and look back up at Rowan. As you got the arm, he's gonna reach up and pat your arm with his other hand, and say, just a moment. I think maybe. As he looks back, Yes. I think maybe I should talk with this lady before we conclude our business. Before we get off of the field, so to speak. So just a moment. Just a moment.
I look down and wink at him and say, "That's all right. The more the merrier."
Great.
You see this huge grin on his face. This is already kind of medium tinted skin starts to get a little red as he just kind of waves his hand as he turns around. Why, yes, dearie. And what skill set might you have?
I do my best to smile, a pretty smile, and pull out my
Bat your eyelashes.
bat my eyelashes and pull out a dagger a little bit out of my cloak and put it back.
So with a quick flourish, you're like, as you brandish the dagger and then put it back real quick. With real fast speed, you see that he is go ahead and roll persuasion.
You're not a big Texan woman.
He's kind of looking up at Rowan, then looking back at you, then looking up at Rowan, then looking back at you. You see him just sitting there kind of counting on his fingers a bit. Yep, I think you'll do nicely.
Talk about the lowest check needed ever.
Yep.
You are welcome.
And so now he's going to hold both of his elbows up on either side, like over his shoulders, like this really awkward thing. Why, if we will do on come, we will go on and decide how we're going to do the payment.
I'll take
Oh,
his arm
God.
again.
These two are good. Fane's
I
gonna rob him
reluctantly
fucking
put my
blind.
fingers in his elbow, but not much more.
Yeah, so you just place your hand, yeah. And you can just see him all as a huge giddy grin as he's just walking towards his wagon.
Oh, wow. Fane's gonna rob this guy blind. I don't know where to go now. This is getting weird. I'm gonna shout out to TX and tell him to wait up. I think TX is gonna go to a better party.
I'm going to ignore you.
Oh, you're a dick.
This time
Oh,
you can see them far ahead. TX standing on the shoulders of this giant human male as they're over standing next to a very long, extra long cart or wagon rather that is stacked with different exotic lumbers of completely different colors and shapes and patterns. Stuff that you don't normally see in any kind of regular construction at all. This is some extremely exotic wood used for very specialized furniture and things like that. And they are they're both talking to the Moon Elf lady.
Ugh. Man, none of these look like good options for Morn. They're all like colorful and happy.
I guess I can see how that'd be weird for you.
Oh yeah, I'm like evil.
So the Moon Elf's going to talk to the giant, whose name comes out to be Sulzdeg. Call him Sulzdeg the Pole, because he's as tall as a particular type of pole. So everyone just calls him the Pole. That's a lodge pole, that's what they call it. He's just known, he said, just call me the Pole. Pole. Or whatever you want. And so the Moon Elf is going to say, well, my fine 2 workers, what's fair for such as you lot? What is your usual contract for this kind of work?
Normally a couple, 1 to 2 gold a day, and plus expenses. Yeah.
Big guy looks down. What are you paying? Mind you, if I don't like what I hear, I'll walk away. You see the Moon Elf kind of, and just kind of drums her fingers on her chin. The best of the lot for folk as exotic as you are. I've got to say, I think the top of the line, 10 gold a 10 day. Expenses, of course. I even have an extra wagon, place to sleep time to time that's not on the lumber. You won't catch that with the other wagoners.
I'm going to kind of whisper into his ear, I think that means you have time to stretch out. You definitely won't get that in some of these other wagons.
Very well. He looks down at you. Is it agreed?
I'm going to hold out a friendly hand for a shake.
With him or with her?
I'm kind of going to go for the 3 musketeers, all hands in at one time. All for one, one for all type thing.
Your hand is not much bigger than like one of his knuckles. As you kind of extend it out, and you say, it's a deal, and then so he goes, and he kind of starts to hold out his hand, and then tries to, then takes 2 fingers like he's trying to pinch something, and then is like, you got it, it's a deal. And puts his hand down. Like, just like, I don't know what to do with, okay, deal. And puts his hand down.
Alright, sounds good.
Alright, so, La is going to lead the 2 ladies over to his wagon. He's hauling scented cooking oil and perfumes. There's money to be had, many. Yes. Many money. No. Yes, many money to be had. As he kind of stumble over his words a bit. But to make that money, we got to get there. And I think you fine ladies gonna see me there just right.
Of course.
So, How much do you normally charge for this kind of work?
I tell him basically what I usually get from escorting caravans at Phandalin, which I'm assuming is about the same as what TX just negotiated.
It's actually a little bit lower than the usual. Usual's like somewhere in the 5 to 8 gold per 10 day for regular caravan guarding.
Okay, I tell him that then.
He's gonna turn over to Fane. And what about you, lassie? Any input on that?
We'll just see how well you like our services at the end.
Now, really?
But that's a good start.
Your services.
I think I could part away with as much as... Let's call it 7 gold a 10 day, plus all the luxury you could wish for on the trip north.
That seems a little low.
I see him kind of hunch his head a little. He's kind of looking over at his goods and then looking up, and then you just see him smile big as he's looking back and forth between. Why, for a trip? Oh, man, for a mighty trip that'd take us nearly 2 months. Oh, let's see. Have about 4, 5, 6, 10 days, depending on how rough it be. So, yeah, how about I could probably go 8 gold a 10 day. Now, how do you feel about that?
You said TX just got 10 gold a 10 day, and that was a little bit low compared to usual?
No, his was a bit, the 5, no, 5 to 8 is about the usual that you've got, and he got 10 for his. Not that you heard his.
Oh, okay.
Not that you heard.
No, I know. I was just trying to, because Roan would know what's normal.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Okay,
In
yes,
somewhere in the 5
take
to 8
then, if
range is something that you're accustomed to.
Okay, yeah, I misunderstood. I'll take the 8.
I suppose that will do for now.
See him get a big grin. Well, don't you two worry. It's not going to be too rough. It's going to be a fun trip, I'd say.
I certainly hope so.
Hopefully not too much fun. The more work you got to do, that's the more rough it is for all of us.
Well, if anything should happen, I'm confident we'll be prepared.
Alright, so, people are going to continue to load up different, various goods over the next little bit. Morn, what are you doing?
Trying to decide what group I want to try to get employed with. You said there's an elf with that liked exotic people and things. The very lustful gold dwarf.
It's just Southern charm.
Oh yeah. With his sausage fingers. Yes.
There's the half elf
And then
who was
the
selling
one-
ale, who grabbed the very brash, very full of herself dwarf lady.
Yes. Yep. And then the other person that got the 2 female warriors.
Correct.
Was the hiree of the female warriors male or female? I forget.
He was male.
Man,
The
we're
only
just
the
trying
only
to-
female merchant that was out looking for guards at the time was the moon elf female.
What was the guy that was hired the 2 warriors looking for?
What was he looking for?
Yeah, what's he doing? What's he moving? Why does he need people?
He was the one bragging about being the biggest and the best of the merchants, the most renowned. He's got instead of having multiple wagons for the caravan, where everyone else has just one wagon of goods, and then maybe a wagon for people to go with, depending.
I'm gonna go with that guy. I'm gonna go try and get employment from him.
Right, so you kind of approach him. And he's gonna kind of look at you and go, and what can I do for you?
Oh, I was just looking for some employment for this caravan here. It seems everyone's hired out, and you have the biggest amount of wagons. And you seem to be the best merchant around.
Why, yes, I am very much the best, and the biggest, and the wealthiest. So kind of you to notice.
And I'd like to provide a man such as yourself my services.
And he's gonna look at, and what services might that be?
Protection. Discreet protection, if needed be.
I see.
And affordable.
And affordable. I see. Roll persuasion with advantage. I was looking for another, but you got the right attitude. But do you have the right skills? Not too sure. I mean,
Well,
you don't have any armor, and you're walking around with a walking stick. Seems a bit weak to me.
ooh, that's not nice. That's not nice. Little the monk. Ouch. I'm just, oh, whoops. Damn, why'd that roll?
Uh,
That wasn't,
what are you doing?
that wasn't nothing.
Did you just punch the merchant in the face?
No.
Hoo-ha!
Yeah. If I'm gonna be like Duck Dodgers and Daffy Duck, I'm probably not gonna get a job as a armed guard.
Parry, thrust, spin,
Yeah,
guard.
Yeah.
Dong.
just hire him off enthusiasm after that.
Okay, well... Does the little beggar
just gonna-
dog have tricks?
Thinking of a trick, damn it. I'm a monk. Aha. I'm going to try. I'm going to toss the dagger in there and knock it into the wagon with my staff in midair. Yeah. Like, kind of like a acrobatic baseball swing.
One of your darts?
The dagger, one of my darts into the side of a wagon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll just a regular attack roll for your staff. Okay, and then let's go ahead and to pair that with acrobatic. There's kind of two things going at the same time. Alright, so you reach in to your robes and pull out one of your darts and you toss it in the air. You spin your staff overhead and thunk, square away. It streaks over and sticks into the wagon. You see the guy who's kind of been a little bit rude and go, quick and deft. And you say,
I've never practiced that.
And you say, discreet if need be.
Yes. And then I reach into my waist pocket and pull out my shiny little coin to prove authenticity.
Very well. I can offer you for. I seem kind of him and hawing a little. How about 5 gold a tin day? I think I can offer that. Discretion, of course, as needed. Has opportunity for bonuses.
I did say affordable, so your price is the deal.
Very well. Accommodations aren't going to be the best, but you'll get food, you'll get your money. We'll see it done.
Deal.
Deal. And he's going to lead you over to the middle where he's got 3 full wagons full of goods. Various goods from furs to different porcelains to different things in crates. And then in the behind those 3 wagons, he's got his wagon that what he travels, his covered wagon that he travels in.
I hope you're not taking us on the Oregon Trail.
So with that, everyone managed to get hired. Although at the end I was not quite too sure if somebody was going to get hired there. But
Who is snuck on?
with that, some quick introductions around the board. You start to get a feel for names of the different people. Most of the merchants are chatty. They're mostly very charismatic people. And they're pretty free with information about what they're trying to do. Most of them are all going to Waterdeep to sell wares. They've got their own teamsters, wagon drivers, all of that kind of stuff is already been hired. And you guys will all be acting as guards for each of their individual person's goods along the way. And they expect that everything should be loaded up for all the wagons and ready to leave out right at noonday.
Woo!
I've created a note, which is now public. Under notes on the far right there, about
On the road NPCs.
on the road NPCs. Here are the names of each of the people that you managed to speak to a little bit as you get going. The 4 merchants. And the 4 guards, and then 3 other travelers who have just hired space in some of the traveling wagons, just for the ride to the north. There's others. There's also all the teamsters, and there's a couple of cooks that go with the caravan and that kind of thing. People that'll just work towards keeping the little small moving society over the next 2 months as you travel north. There's a couple of one of the things that when they hire on, all the merchants pitch in, and they get a caravan of supplies. They get a caravan of that holds people that for services along the way, everything from horseshoes to and all of those things are all part of the caravan as they set forward. And then there are out of all of these people that are very chatty, very talkative, there is a whole 5 wagons at the back, laden full of goods, and all of the people are very standoffish and they won't talk to anyone. They're all staying close to each other, and just being confrontational, but also non-communicative to any of the other people in the caravan. Just keep to themselves. They've got 5 wagons full of stuff, and they have 3 wagons for people. So a total of 8 wagons that are in the back of people that just doesn't want to talk to you. So with that, it took a little bit of time getting here, getting hired, meeting everyone, and trying to get a lay of the land, so to speak, before you head out. Is there any last minute anything anyone wants to do before we leave Baldur's Gate?
Not for me.
TX is good. TX moves.
Okay, and with that, we'll get underway to Baldur's Gate after we come back from our intermission.